for Laureano, and he runs it, and the Mets win the ball game.
Episode 70 of the Boroughs, and it's an awful one. I'm Kevin Bunk, joined by Michael Merlo every week for BTO Media, talking New York baseball predominantly, but also, of course, going around the league, which we'll do at the end. But Mike, I'm kind of at a loss for words on this episode because we went into the weekend thinking, first of all, that the Mets were going to show up a little bit. Absolutely didn't, but we're going to talk. There's so much to break down with that series, so we'll get to it. But almost at a loss for words because we've been doing this show for 2 years now, which is not a very long time in the grand scheme. But it's the first time that both teams are really bad. And it's really gloom, and it's just an awful episode to step into, but it also makes it a fun one. Where are you at after just the most backbreaking series sweep in Major League Baseball history?
Yeah, I mean, you're in these games and you lose the games. You know, like they won them, yeah, okay, but you handed them these wins. You handed them the win on Friday when you make the error if you're Senga, and then the next pitch is a 2-run shot to tie the game. You hand them the game when it's 4-4, runner on third, 2 outs, and Ronnie Mauricio makes a back-breaking error, and then you have the whole pitch clock violation, home run, next pitch. And then you hand them the game when, again, a starting pitcher cannot go deep into the game, and then you have to go to the bullpen, which is tired already, and they blow the game. You can't ask the bullpen to be perfect. This is not a sustainable situation. It is very frustrating. It is just back-breaking, as you mentioned, and I don't know what to say. I don't know where to go.
Whether you were on the fence about if Stearns needed to get a starter or not at the deadline, I think it's become apparently clear 2 weeks later, not even 2 weeks yet, that they absolutely needed to get one. And that was a big blemish on the Mets deadline that was otherwise good. And it's not enough. I watch these starting pitchers and they're coming out after 4 innings in the 5th inning. They are coming out of the game. They're not going to make it. And you get a taste of your starting pitching versus what you're going to see in the playoffs this weekend. And Milwaukee has a group of arms that, even though they gave up runs to the Mets, especially yesterday, the Mets go up 5-0. They gave up runs, but they always have an arm in the game that you feel good about. The Mets, innings 3 through 6, you're a little bit on the fence about what is going on. You're uncertain about what is going on. And the bullpen had a little bit of trouble this weekend, but you're right. You can't ask them to be perfect every day. So the starting pitching is a huge issue, and it's by far the worst unit in the National League playoff, out of that playoff picture.
You know what the biggest problem is for me, Kevin, is that Stearns brought in these guys, right? He brought in Montas, he brought in Clay Holmes, and those were, the guys that he wanted to see what he could get out of, right? Canning, another guy, he obviously went down. So you're taking a risk with those 2 guys, seeing if you could fix them. And if you can't, it would be one thing if you couldn't get 4 or 5 innings from those guys, and that is the case. Montas is terrible, and Clay Holmes is very up and down. But the issue right now with this team is the fact that they can't get 5 innings from Senga or now Manaea. That's the biggest problem. It's not that you can't get it from Montas or Holmes, because you knew there was a chance of that. You can't get 5 innings from Kodai Senga or Sean Manaea yesterday. That, to me, is the biggest issue right now, is the guys that you had slated in here to be your top guys are not doing their job, and that's what's embarrassing. This group of players is a pathetic excuse for a winning ball club, for a team that had World Series expectations. They're a bunch of losers right now, frankly, Kevin, and there's more evidence of them being losers in their career than there are winners just 1 year of success, which was last season. Losers.
The argument we had earlier in the season, or just debate we had earlier in the season about, do you spend money on hitting or do you spend money on starting pitching? It was basically a Yankees versus Mets offseason debate, because the Yankees went a little cheaper on replacing Soto in the lineup. The Mets obviously signed Soto. They go big money-wise in the lineup, and both teams on the other side of it kind of bargain bin shopped. And it's funny because now the Mets lineup is not hitting at all. That's another massive problem. And on the other side of town, we'll talk about it later, the Yankees pitching stinks, and they're actually able to hit for the most part. So we'll talk about the Yankees part later, but the Mets lineup, Mike, this is an equally big concern for me. And I don't know if you want to go down the Eric Chavez path today. He's just getting ripped everywhere. Everyone hates him. But is it his fault, really? And I don't know. I never know in baseball, and I've admitted that on this show. Is it his fault Lindor's not hitting? Is it his fault Alonso's not hitting? Is it his fault Nimmo can't hit? These are bona fide major league hitters and star players that are not hitting.
I don't know how much you could. I don't know how much you blame the hitting coach. I also don't know if I make the change, because I do think these guys, and this may sound like the softest excuse in the world, but I think these guys love Chavez. I think that matters a lot. But I don't know if they knew it would change something. If they knew that it would change Francisco Lindor's 336 slug over his last 30 games and 192 batting average, then I think they would make the move. I just don't think that it does. Personally, I don't think it does.
And with Mendoza now, if we want to take it a step up to the manager, he could be better over this stretch. I see a lot of Mets fans saying, well, it's not Carlos Mendoza's fault that these guys aren't hitting. If you're going to blame Eric Chavez, you also have to group in Mendoza, first of all, because he is the manager of the baseball team. Chavez is a hitting coach. He's an assistant, and I know it's his job for the hitters, but also Mendoza could have made a lot of different decisions to potentially give the Mets a better chance of winning over the last few weeks. I don't think he's doing anything to elevate the Mets' chances in these games over the last month. He has not impressed me at all.
I think he's changing the lineups around, doing what he can. I thought he had a bad day in terms of managing the bullpen on Sunday. I would have went to Diaz earlier, who hadn't pitched in 6 days. You could tell Helsley really didn't have it. So I think that move in terms of just managing the team, not necessarily just the offense, thought he made a really bad decision there. Ends up costing them. They end up losing the game. It doesn't matter. But offensively, I don't know what else you think you could get out of your manager. I don't know how much more the manager is adding to this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he can fully help this situation.
That's a fair point, too. It just feels like the players that they have there, we've said this a numerous amount of times.
It's the players. The
players that are here are the guys that you're supposed to be able to win with, even whether, it's at the deadline, it's in the offseason. Like, these are the players you acquired, and everybody agreed you can win with this group. Now the players are not performing. And it's becoming, the way that the Mets lost these games this weekend, Mike, that I did not watch these games live. Friday night, I was too distraught about that Yankees game. I just shut the TV off after it lost. The Saturday night game, as I'm trying to go back through the weekend, the Jets played the greatest game I've ever been alive for. I don't care if it was preseason. I didn't watch the Mets game. I was watching football. I'm itching for football. Sunday, I saw they were up 5-0. I go golfing. I check my phone. They lost. Like, what happened this weekend? And obviously Friday, Saturday, I watched the end of the games back. But what is going, like, there's a curse around this weekend.
There's a curse around this team in general right now. I really do. I think there's a curse around this team. Somebody pissed somebody off, because you can't lose all 3 of those games. You know what's funny? I thought they were going to show up this weekend. I really did. I thought they were going to shock people. I thought they'd win the series, and I thought you'd really start to get back on track here. And you were you got swept, but you were so close to doing just that. You were so close.
And first of all, you texted me the second it happened. The pitch clock violation turned home run on Saturday. That's one that I have just never seen in my life.
Never.
And that we will. And obviously you could only have seen it the last 2 years, but I don't know if we'll ever see that again, because you literally need a guy to make a third out, get a pitch clock violation, and then go yard.
and
win the game.
but the next pitch. Like, it wasn't even
pitch.
like,
Yeah,
it wasn't
like,
even like a couple pitches later. It was the next pitch.
That's just nauseating stuff to happen. And then, Friday, you lose getting thrown out. That's baseball. Like,
You
it
didn't
sucks.
hit all game. It is what it is. You didn't hit all game, though. It's fun. It's whatever. And then the Sunday loss.
Did you see the tweet yesterday? I have no idea who it was from. Felt like a normal Mets fan on Mets Twitter. Tweeted after the Mullins home run. Wow, 5-0 lead. Wonder how they're going to lose this game.
Yeah, I mean, that was being sent around the group chats.
But that's just how it feels now with both of these teams.
I had one text. We should invent a new cool way to lose again today. Let's see how we ruin this. I go, we'll probably be very quick. It wasn't. It took a little while. So that's the mindset around this team right now. That's the mindset. It's that something really bad is going to happen. And how could you sit here and say, Kevin, they're going to make the playoffs? How could you sit here and say this is a playoff team? They don't do anything right. They don't do anything well. They are not above average at anything right now. Okay? Their pitching's bad. Their bullpen's thrown too many innings. They're not a great defensive team. Their offense is a dud. There's nothing inspiring about this baseball team right now for me to say they're going to make the playoffs and they're going to go do damage in the playoffs. There's nothing. They're a dud. They're a complete zero right now.
And everybody likes to keep throwing out there the positive people is who I mean by everybody, but everybody likes to say, oh, the team's going to go on a run at some point. There's way too much talent. They put too much into it. They're going to have that good 2-3 week stretch. And at this point, they've been awful for the last 6 weeks. And there are that many weeks left in the season. It's actually 5 weeks left in the season now. Or no, there's 6. But you cannot absolutely guarantee and be confident about the Mets having a better next 6 weeks than the Cincinnati Reds. You can't, because they're now at the point where I think we're seeing who the team really is, especially mentally. I don't know if they have what it takes to get out of the funk. I really don't.
No, I don't think so either. And wouldn't it be poetic for the team that swaps with the Mets in the playoffs, that jumps the Mets in the playoffs, to be your Cincinnati Reds, the team that I've made fun of all year long?
There's a small part of me that's really rooting for it.
I know.
But I'm not rooting for the Mets to miss. I'm rooting for the Reds to get in.
The Mets in the playoffs.
The path for the Reds is jumping the Mets. It's not San Diego. It's not going to be Chicago. It's not going to be Milwaukee.
Of course
it's going to be the Mets. And the Reds are playing good baseball right now. So we'll see. And they have a slightly easier schedule the rest of the way than the Mets.
Francisco Lindor, not to just completely change the topic.
No, that's where we got to go. So
he's like the only player I think I've ever seen to have 3 different stretches of going 0 for 18 in a season.
Jesus.
Like 2 weeks ago, he was 0 for his last 18. Now he's 0 for his last 19. I think it happened earlier in the year. And this all happened after he fouled the ball off his toe. It's a joke. He's a joke. But he's got to be better. That's what I tell you. He's got to be better. Yep.
I mean,
we know, Francisco. We know. Thanks.
To think about that foul ball and just the before and after. His numbers now: 243 average, 312 on base, 735 OPS. He's got 21 home runs and 64 RBIs. I feel like he was close to 21 homers and 64 RBIs 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And now we're sitting here, and he's just become such a league average player.
A below league average player.
Well, that's how he's playing in this stretch, but his stats on the year are just league average.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he had such a great start and just followed it up by this complete dud.
His last 30 games, he's hitting 192. He's got 4 homers. He's got 18 RBIs. He's walked 9 times. He has 35 strikeouts. And his OPS is 599.
Let me just say something a little corny, maybe. This team really lacks a vibes guy. And Jose Iglesias was that guy last year to bring a little bit of spark. I'm not seeing a guy on the
Yeah,
Mets
it's
right
corny.
now. It's very corny. I'm not seeing a guy on the Mets right now, and it should be Lindor, Soto, or Alonso, or Nimmo. And I just think, like, who is the guy bringing a positive mindset to the Mets every day that can be contagious among the entire team?
Well, how could you walk into that clubhouse and be positive right now?
I don't know.
How
I think
could
you just
you
always need to have one
possibly
of those
do that?
guys, though. You always need to have one of those guys.
I saw a funny tweet. The Mets are playing the Little League game this weekend, so they're going to play 2 against Seattle, and they're going to go to Williamsport.
I
And
already
they
know where this is
said,
going.
yeah, they were like, "Why are we doing this to the kids? Is this not, like child brutality or something like that?" Like how can we possibly do this? And it's true. How are you going to show this team to the kids? This is what you want to advertise? How about this? These couple comments here. And you got this right here. I don't. That doesn't excite me, so I'm not there.
Yeah, but you got the G-Men.
I do, and I have Jackson. And if anybody wants to comment about Jackson, please feel free because that guy's legit. But I'm on to football. I'm on to football.
I'm on to football too.
And it's not
This is
Justin
a sad
Fields.
day here. It's a sad day here.
It's not Justin Fields.
It's Justin Fields. It's gonna be Fields all year long. But Mariners Mets Little League Classic. That's sick. That's awesome.
Yep.
2 playoff teams. What more could you ask, really, the kids?
No, kids aren't seeing anything. You actually might want to hide the kids.
Seats are going to be empty. Mets are really bad, man.
Mets,
what do you think of the contingent of the fan base that's on the Fire Mendoza train?
Hold on. They have a 78% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Which still, honestly, feels probably correct. And in the ballpark, I'd give them a little bit less, but they're definitely favorites over Cincinnati. Like, we'll talk about the Yankees in a little bit. I don't know if the Yankees are the favorites any longer to be the 6th seed.
On
the
June
Mets
12th,
feel like they are.
On June 12th, they had a 74.5% chance to win the division. Today, it's 10%. To win the World Series, they had a 10% chance on June 12th. Today, it's 4.9.
Awesome. Yikes. This is rough stuff, man. See, I might have lost the words, truly. How about Alonso, home run record?
Yeah. I wish it came with better play amongst the team, but good for him. And
that's one of those things we spoke about last year, and I think we were talking about Nimmo's career numbers. And just the low, like 252 homers as your leader. I'm sure it's not even the lowest in baseball, but that is a really low number of home runs. So not a surprise that Alonso did it.
Yeah, I think him, Trout, Machado, and there's one more player that's currently the team's home run leader. Like current players. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. I'm not sitting here freaking out about it, but you also
knew he was going to get it if he was on the team.
Yeah,
like, he was definitely going to get there.
But it'll be a cool moment. I will watch it. I'll rewatch the video. I'm happy they're at home. I'm happy he'll do it in front of the fans, and I'm happy he'll have Gary Cohen on because they had Steve Gelbs on this weekend in Milwaukee. So Gary Cohen will be back, and you'll have Cohen on the call, and it'll be a nice moment, and I'm excited for that. So,
Stanton's the other active.
Sorry. Yeah, the Marlins, yeah. Yankees, yeah.
Yankees.
So, I'm pumped, but not like major pumped. I'm not getting to the game this week to go see it, so.
Yeah, Luis Gonzalez and D-backs only at 224.
Yeah, so stop, maybe stop.
Machado, the Padres with 167. Wow.
Yeah, so stop talking bad on my team, please.
But the Mets would be 3rd lowest in the league. Ryan Zimmerman, 284, Nats. Let's go.
Wow. Well, Pete will break that this year, so it doesn't matter.
I think that the prospect of the Mets missing the playoffs or losing in the first 2 games of the wild card, say they get, it would be, who would it be in the first round? It would be the Phillies in the first round, no?
Right now, it'd be the Phillies.
So say they lose those 2 games, and the division. You text me this, but it feels like the division is
Division's over.
Starting to become wrapped up, and the Phillies are just really, really good. I'd be shocked if I think the Phillies are going to get the 2 seed.
I think the Phillies are winning the World Series.
I think the NL West team is the one that ends up with the 3 seed playing in the first round. That'll be the Dodgers. But either way, the Mets missing the playoffs or having a bad exit makes it really interesting for how Cohen operates the offseason, how the organization moves forward, and what they do with Alonso.
I think yes and no, because I think you have so many great prospects coming up. And I don't know who exactly is going to make their debuts next year. I think Williams is going to play in center. You have this kid Ryan Clifford who plays right and first base, and he's a power bat. And they just brought him up to AAA. I think no matter what happens, I think you have to bring him back because he is having that good season. He is having that, that walk year kind of season where, in your mind, you would say, well, he's doing it because he's in a walk year. And for me, the way I look at it is, well, if he didn't do it in this year, then you knew there was something wrong with him. You knew that what you saw in 2024 was going to become what Pete Alonso is. That's not the case. He is still that player that we've seen in the past that can hit, that is, I don't want to say an elite hitter, but close to an elite hitter, and obviously an elite power hitter. So I still am on the train if I would bring him back.
Yeah. I would too, but will they? Will Stearns?
I don't know. They got a lot of. They got this kid, this outfield prospect coming up. I couldn't be more excited about him. Carson Bench. Carson Bench.
Yeah, well, they called those guys up. We'll touch on that in a second. But this is potentially Cohen's first real crossroads with a manager with Mendoza.
I'm not out.
Well, this is. I would not be out on Mendoza. I would not fire Mendoza. But if they missed the playoffs, does Steve Cohen get a little George Steinbrenner-esque and just because he's ultra aggressive? I think Cohen's a little more laid back and a little more mild-mannered in his approach. But does he just say, I'm so pissed about this season, all the coaches are gone because that was a terrible failure because we put this great team on the field and I'm going to go out. We spoke about the Yankees poaching coaches. I'm going to go out and I'm going to get the manager I want.
Yeah, I think I don't see it. Like, I don't see the reasoning for firing him.
I don't either.
I can't even think about that. I don't think he's anything like George Steinbrenner. I don't think he reacts in those kinds of ways. He lets his baseball people handle things. He's a very, very level-headed kind of guy that makes decisions based off of processes like Stearns does. So for me, I don't think they would even consider it.
Like, if you look through the 80s Yankees, they notoriously with Mattingly and Dave Winfield didn't win a championship, didn't get there, but they got to the playoffs here and there, and they had a lot of 500-plus seasons where they won 85, 86 games, and basically every other year, the manager gets fired. And that was Steinbrenner's era of just complete irrational craziness and making moves all the time just to make moves because he was pissed they didn't win a World Series. And I'm wondering if Cohen has any of that in his body because you can justify that behavior sometimes when you spend more than anyone.
But you're not there yet.
I don't think you're not either.
You're not there yet because yes, the money has been spent. We're not saying that's not the case, but you're not this elite team yet. You're not this storied franchise yet. You don't have this reputation of getting to the postseason and losing every year just yet. Hopefully you don't get that reputation, but you don't have it yet. So I don't think that is something that he can sit here and hold his hat on and say, well, we're firing him because I can't take losing in the postseason. It's been the third time he lost in the postseason.
Yeah. How about let's just look through this quickly. Yankees history. As we did a lot of George Steinbrenner stuff last episode. You see the clip on social media.
Yeah, of course.
Quick little 10-year run from 78 to 88. 78, Yankees win their second straight World Series. Billy Martin was the manager for 3 years. They make it all 3 years. They win the second and third year. Out after the 78 season. Lemon's the manager in 79. Fired. Hauser's the manager in 80. Fired. 81 is Michael. Fired. Lemon back. And he has like these a lot of seasons where he has 2 managers, and like Lemon and Martin have a lot of seasons where they come in midway. But Billy Martin comes back in 83. Then he comes back in 88. Lou Pinella's in the middle. Yogi Berra's in the middle. Like, this is just the most gung-ho era of any baseball franchise ever.
It's just like it's a different time. It's a different. It's just so much different than now, and the relationships that these guys build with these managers. And listen, if Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto had an issue with Carlos Mendoza, it'd be done. Right, Mendoza would be out, but they love Mendoza. Yeah, I don't know what those relationships were like back then, but bringing the guy back and this and that, like, you just lived in such a different world. It's insane.
And I think you had personalities there with Lou Piniella and with Billy Martin that probably didn't kiss up to Steinbrenner and probably just laid into him when
he was wrong.
He was wrong. Yeah. And,
which was probably a lot.
Yeah. Because those are, all-time baseball guys.
Yeah.
And you're an owner who is a huge fan, but probably Steve Cohen doesn't know more about baseball than Carlos Mendoza. And that's kind of comparable to just any owner manager position. Obviously, he knows baseball, but not like any of these managers do. You know what's what else do you want to talk about with Mets first? The prospects. Let's go to the prospects for a second.
All right, yeah.
They call these guys up to AAA. What does it mean?
They're closer.
Yeah.
They are closer. I think it confirms that you're going to see one of the pitchers up at some point in a week. If they don't bring one of these guys up to replace Montas in the next week, I am going to throw a fit. I mean, a fit that you haven't seen ever. I am going to scream and yell. And yeah, I'm pumped to see what they can do with AAA, and then hopefully it speeds up the process in getting them here next year, which is cool.
All right.
They could use some help. Also, how about
Congrats,
this?
Boys. Welcome.
Chick-fil-A to release a new pretzel bun sandwich starting August 18th, and it looks really good. I just thought I'd throw that in there. So
there's really a positive for the show.
That's a big positive. Buttery pretzel bun stacked with fresh lettuce, ripe tomato, slice of cheddar cheese, crispy bacon, and a choice of original, spicy, or grilled chicken. That sounds real good. August 18th.
Will you be there?
Chick-fil-A a free ad. I will. That's next week. I could probably make that work and get that done.
Let's go. All right. So we found some positive news in the show today.
Yo, Chick-fil-A is releasing a new sandwich. Let's go.
Before I get into the Yankees fully, I'm watching Old Timers Day, and Willie Randolph's there.
Yeah, my guy, Willie.
How did he never get another chance to be a major league manager?
I don't know. After he got screwed by the Wilpons in Anaheim.
Yep. The guy went 302 and 253 in 4 seasons. And
had one of the greatest seasons in Met history. It's not really a high bar, but it was one of the greatest seasons in the history of the team.
You go 97 and 65. That's for the fans that watched it, for the fans that grew up in this era. That's an iconic season for them.
That team should have won the World Series.
That was the best team in baseball.
That team was going to win the World Series if they would have beat the Cardinals that year.
And then he's 34 and 35. And as you mentioned, he gets screwed and gets fired in year 4 in 2008. And then he got one interview ever after that to be a manager again. With the amount of guys that get 3rd and 4th chances in Major League Baseball to manage, especially at small market places, especially then, Willie Randolph got one interview from Milwaukee after, and it was in 2012, I think he said. That's crazy.
Yanks did him dirty. They should have hired him when they hired Boone. They hired the wrong former player.
Yep. Yanks did him dirty. Willie Randolph, one of the greats.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yankees are just toast, man. Like, I don't even know what to say anymore about this team. We're beating a dead horse at this point. It's the same crap. I don't know. How did Devin Williams pitch on Saturday?
I
or on
will
Friday?
say, not to sound like, his what's the term I'm looking for? Not to be a defender of Aaron Boone. He did try and stay away from him.
He did. He was hoping they won that game in 9, but it's at a point where Williams should have probably been shut down before that game. 10-day IL type of thing, little phantom stint, and just bring up one of your AAA arms. Kenta Maeda, welcome to the org.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Great first start. Had a Metsian first start, 5 innings pitched, no runs.
Yes. Oh, at AAA. Yes, I saw that.
Yep. But Williams, Friday night I got to the DFA point. Fully to the DFA point. He doesn't look like he's happy here at all. I do think the Alonso home run crushed him. I really do.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he wants to be here. And the one thing I'll say is that I don't know if it's worth it to put him in a spot where you're throwing him into low set leverage situations in the 5th or the 6th inning, and then he blows up and it's just bad from there to the point where then you say you have to DFA him. I don't know if I would just let him go. I don't see the point in letting him continue to be this negative rain cloud over this franchise right now.
It's really bad. And since he's in your pen, you have to use him at some point.
Yes.
And it's impossible for him to just sit on the bench and never see the field. That's not going to happen. But when they get Fernando Cruz back and they get healthy here, Yarbrough, he's got to be a casualty. He's one of their 2 worst pitchers on the team.
Yeah, and I would be shocked if they didn't do that. It feels like they know how bad of an issue this is, as I see.
And it should be easy too to be like, "Hey, Dev, like we're going to DFA you here," and he probably wants that. So you're not going to a player who has sacrificed a lot for the organization, who wants to be here, and say we're going to designate you for assignment. We feel terrible about it. He's going to be pumped. He's got his bags packed already, this guy.
Probably go back to Milwaukee, become the airbender again,
And you know what will happen? What's great, too, is the ability that certain franchises have to move off of a player like this. I mean, they knew something to trade. I know he had 1 year left. I know they weren't going to re-sign him at the end of it. They knew something to make that trade at the time that they did. They were sure about him starting to slide.
Well, they had the right McGill in place to replace him. They had Trevor McGill, and Trevor McGill's been one of the best closers in baseball. He's the best setup man in baseball last year. He's been the best closer in baseball this year. And they got this kid Uribe, the setup man this year, who's been unreal. He's been unbelievable.
How about the job that Matt Arnold's done since Stearns has left and Arnold's now taken over and putting this team on the field? Like, this is insane work.
So when Stearns left the team, Arnold took over, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Mets couldn't interview Stearns because he was still like an advisor or whatever it was. They weren't allowed to interview him yet. They had to wait a certain amount of time. So while they were trying to hire a guy, they went to Arnold. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
And they requested permission to speak with Matt Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to make Matt Arnold GM and then eventually president. And the owner of the Brewers was so pissed already about Cohen wanting David Stearns to the point where Stearns left, he would not let him interview Arnold.
They lost Craig Counsell and David Stearns. Both guys were viewed among the top of baseball at their respective spots. And a Brewers fan could very easily argue they got better at both. I think Pat Murphy's better than Counsell, definitely.
He's great.
Arnold and Stearns, we'll see. But Arnold's put together an incredible team here. Incredible team.
And they are. That place the other night was rocking.
The fans are so into it, man.
Those fans believe that's a tough place to play. The Met fan knows it. We played the postseason series there. They're so dangerous. With that bullpen, and the starters that they actually have right now. I mean, the Mets hit Priester. That's the first time Priester's been hit in months. You got Priester, you got Freddie Peralta, you have Mizorowski when he comes back, and I'm forgetting one more person that's been really good this year for them. They are very dangerous.
Well, now you have Woodruff back too.
And, oh my God, Woodruff was unbelievable the other
having
night.
Woodruff, he looks as good as ever right now.
Jesus Christ, the Mets couldn't catch up to that fastball. It was only sitting 94, 95. The Mets couldn't catch up to it.
Yeah, no, he looks unbelievable so far this season. And he's had great years in his career before, but this one looks...
Free agent, too. He's free agent.
Yeah, this one looks special. He's pitching for a contract here, and their top prospects are all pitchers, too. They have the best pitching prospects in Major League Baseball, even without Mizorowski included. So they are going to be pitching well for a while, as they always do.
Unreal.
And they look great. But, yeah, the Yankees, this is the first time I'm going to come on here and say I don't think they make the playoffs.
Wow.
I think Cleveland's going to get that last spot.
We're both out on our teams making the playoffs.
Do you genuinely think the Mets are not going to make the playoffs, though?
I genuinely think right now they're
not.
No, I think genuinely there's not one thing they do right. I don't think they're making the playoffs.
And the Yankees, I just can't see it happening. They're really bad. They're awful.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting is that when I watched back over the weekend, even in the game that they lost, and I watched a little bit of that game too live, you could just tell that Houston was, you could just, like, looking at the two teams, like, oh, Houston's a better team. It's not really close. Like, Houston is the better ball club here. And I know they had their pitchers lined up and whatnot, but Houston looked dominant.
And going into that series, they're only 3 games better in the standings.
Yeah.
So it was close, and it was a chance for the Yankees to maybe park up a little bit and say, we can run in the AL. But now Judge is in the lineup and he's not hitting, and that's a huge problem. It's early. It's been a week. But
because you have to take Stanton out, who's been your best hitter over the last month.
Yep, and he played right field this weekend once on Saturday in the win, but
can't play Sunday.
Said he couldn't run him back Sunday, which, it's fair. Stanton can't move anymore.
But then bench Judge for the day, especially if he's not hitting. They got to get Stanton in there. He's been your best hitter.
He's not hitting. Judge is not hitting, but they are real. And then Mariano Rivera tears his Achilles at Old Timers Day.
What's going on here?
I mean, you got Mariano out of position in center field.
It's unbelievable.
Shallow fly, his ankle explodes. He's out for the season now. So the Yankees closer is going to have to be Devin Williams the rest of the year.
What are we doing? Boone's playing guys out of position, getting hurt. This is bad.
It's bad news, man. And Mariano had 2 hits in Saturday's game.
Really bad. Oh,
I don't even. Mike, I sent you a list of topics. I don't have anything to say, though. They stink. They're awful. We know they can't field. They can't pitch. They hit well enough to win, but doesn't matter because they give up 6 runs a game. And they couldn't touch Brown on Friday. They couldn't touch Evaldi last week. Elite pitching, they don't hit. And it's just like, what is there even at this point?
JF7. How about Trent Grisham, though? Clutch.
Grisham, there's a guy to talk about. It's going to be tough seeing Grisham leave this offseason because that's a guy who has shown up this year in a big way. Both ways he's shown up.
Of course.
And it's going to be tough to watch him walk out. And I don't think Bellinger is going to get the contract people expect him to get. I don't know if we spoke about that on this show or not, but I'm starting to think that Bellinger will have a pretty underwhelming market and he'll be back with the Yankees fairly easily. But there's got to be at least a second of thought between what Grisham's contract's going to be, what Bellinger's contract's going to be, what else you're trying to do. Like, you almost have to build a let's try and re-sign Grisham and let Bellinger walk plan. Just see how it rolls out mentally when you actually plan it. I'd go the Bellinger route no matter what. But you have to at least consider for a moment bringing back Trent Grisham, who's going to be 29 years old.
High leverage spots this year for Trent Grisham. 5 homers, 19 RBIs, 254 with an 861 OPS. Medium leverage spots, which is almost double the at-bats there. 13 homers, 18 ribeyes, 948 OPS. Guy's been clutch all season long for them. It's been incredible.
He's a stud. He's a stud player.
I think you have to have the conversation, though. I mean, I know it's only 1 year, but you know what, and we've talked up Cody Bellinger big time. Not only is he an inconsistent player year to year, he's an inconsistent player within the season. So he could be up one day, down the other. It's 1 week down the other. I think they have to bring Bellinger back, but you're right. The contract I don't think is going to be as big as we thought maybe a month or two ago.
And I'll throw a crazy one out there. Depending on what you're able to spend this offseason, I think you already have the money allocated to your starting pitchers. I think the place you really have to spend money this offseason is bullpen, and you probably need a first baseman. And then you're going to focus on bringing back Bellinger. But is it crazy to say bring back Grisham and Bellinger and trade Dominguez and Jones?
Well, I would try and trade. If I could get something for Dominguez, I think I would.
Because Dominguez has not been overly impressive. I like the potential of him as a bottom-of-the-order guy. Good speed. If he can get the defense figured out, he's a much better player than he is right now. But I don't think it's nuts to say you got Judge and Stanton in – it's going to be the last year Stanton's on the team next year probably. So you're in your last couple of years of the window with this group with Cole. You have Fried. You have Judge. You have Stanton. They're all on the wrong side of 30. Let's go and just try and win it with a couple veterans, and let's bring back Grisham and Bellinger because we know it worked here this year. I don't know if Dominguez or Jones are going to work here in the next 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, I think I would keep and I would trade Spencer Jones for the right price, but I don't think I'm looking out there and trading Spencer Jones at the moment.
Okay, he's struggling since the All-Star break, right?
Has he? I saw you hit a home run yesterday, though.
And let me talk about his home run yesterday.
Oh, God.
Little Phillies hate for the episode. This is the 3rd time this season I have seen Spencer Jones homers off of top pitching prospect Andrew Painter. How many years is Andrew Painter going to be a top pitching prospect? And I see somebody hit a home run off of this guy every week.
Okay. Well, now we're really.
I have just seen this name for so long. When does he pitch in Major League Baseball?
Now we're really hating.
There's nothing else to talk about, Mike. He's
their biggest pitching prospect. He's been there for a while.
He's only 22. He's been AAA for 10 years.
He's close. He's getting close. You got to give him time to develop. Come on, can't rush this along.
He's got a 6 ERA this year.
Does he really?
In AAA, he's 3-7.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's not great.
He's got a 1.5 WHIP. He sucks.
I guess it suck.
Oh, Spencer Jones homers off of the worst pitcher in AAA for a 3rd time this year, but he's got a little number 10 next to his name for the Phillies.
I hate the Phillies as much as anybody, but I can't hate on Andrew Painter. That guy's going to be legit.
No, he's not. He's awful in AAA.
All right, we'll make a bet. If Andrew Painter becomes an all-star at some point, you have to go to a Red Sox game behind home plate in a Red Sox jersey, and vice versa. I got to go to you got to sit in a Yankees jersey, actually, and I have to go to a Phillies game in a Mets jersey behind home plate, and we both have to accompany each other.
Yeah, all right. I'll be there.
Painter all-star.
Painter stinks, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got to wait 20 years for his career to end for you to make that bet. You have to wait 4 years for him to potentially be an all-star.
All right, we'll do it in the first 5 years. He's got to be an all-star in the first 5 years.
First 5 years after getting called up.
Yes.
All-star starter. I'm not dealing with it if they turn him into a 1-inning bullpen guy and he finds a way.
He doesn't have to start the game, but he's a starter.
Yeah. All right.
If he becomes a reliever, no, it's off.
Deal. Shake on that. Good deal. All right. Andrew Painter, washed at 22. That's a shame. What else did I have today with the Yankees? Boone stinks. Cashman stinks.
Everybody
Stanton
stinks.
doesn't run. Volpe can't.
Bednar's the closer.
Bednar's the closer.
Bednar's definitely the closer. Good for them.
Austin Wells. I've done it the last few weeks too. Done with him. Completely done with him. Stinks. Awful. Black hole at the plate. No approach to hitting. Horrible. Awful. Stinks. Terrible.
His OPS plus is 86. It's 86. Average is 100. Hold on, I'm looking at his split.
Awful.
His last 28 days, he has 1 homer in 51 at-bats, 1 homer, 3 RBIs. He's hitting 118 with a 375 OPS. That's Phantom IL stuff right there.
Yeah.
Like, you could just throw him on the IL for a tweak in his leg for being that bad.
It's awful. And he's got a career on base now of 293. This season, 267 on base. He's not good.
He's pretty bad.
And he's like one of the princes of Yankees Twitter, and Yankee fans just love him. He's their catcher of the future. Like, is catcher not a position that you have to be looking to somewhat upgrade this offseason? I'm not saying.
You're trading all your catching prospects the last 3 years. How are you going to do that?
You look at all of the catchers that they've gotten rid of the last few years. And honestly, I like to try and keep it real. Wells was the guy. He was the guy when he came up out of the group that needed to be the catcher. And nobody disagreed with that. And I won't even rip him for giving it a try. But you traded Narvaez, Ramirez, Higashioka, and Trevino. They're all better than Wells right now. All better players than Wells right now.
Yes.
Were you wrong for trading Higashioka in a Juan Soto deal and getting Fernando Cruz for Jose Trevino? Absolutely not. I do it again every time. But the bottom line is that you've had catchers in here, Terens too, I'd include him, that have been.
I don't think you can include Terens.
Well, Terens is a guy that they should not have gotten rid of because now they have no backup catcher and they don't have a right-handed hitting catcher.
Ben Rice.
Ben Rice, lefty and playing first base every night. We can't even get him behind the plate.
Oh, what a mess. What a mess. They're both missing the playoffs. They are both missing the playoffs, Kevin. And it's not even funny. Like, I thought I was going to be able to enjoy this, like the Yankees missing the playoffs. I can't even enjoy it.
No, because it should have been Yankees are missing and the Mets are the 1 seed.
Yeah.
That's not it.
They're both going to miss.
Which team, like, forget any of the media attention narratives, like the Yankees get more, there's more pressure on the Yankees. Which team, boil it down to just who's on the squad, what they put into this year, which team's playoff miss would be worse?
The Mets were the better team at one point this year. Like, the Mets
There was a point in the year where the Mets were the best team in baseball.
And I never felt that way about the Yankees. I never felt that the Yankees were the best team in baseball. Maybe in the American League at one point, but never in baseball. There were multiple points in this season where I had said, oh, the Mets are the best team in baseball. So it would be the Mets. The Mets would be more disappointing. The Mets would be way more disappointing missing the playoffs than the Yankees would be.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that when you look at Cleveland and Texas, while Cincinnati's, I'd say, a better team than both, those teams are closer to the Yankees than Cincinnati should be to the Mets. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I just think the competition, like we've talked about it how many times, the competition in the National League is tougher. When the Mets are playing this poorly, you're easily going to be the third worst wild card team.
Yep.
You're the third best wild card team, I should say. Where the Yankees, like, there's no reason for those teams to have passed them. The Yankees are better than them. The Cubs are loaded. The Padres are absolutely loaded. It's no shock.
Phillies,
it's not a massive surprise. The Phillies, these teams passed the Mets. That's not a huge shock.
Yeah. Yep.
Insane.
Yeah, Mets missing is a disaster this year. After the offseason they had, getting Soto, all the hype, total disaster. And it leaves you wondering about next year what to expect for next season. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Anything else today, really? Because this has just been a miserable existence.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good for today. We'll be back at some point this week. And
probably Friday, but we'll see.
Hopefully it's better.
Hopefully a series win from each squad. Bring the vibes up a little bit. Check out No Good Takes throughout the week. Giuseppe Oliveri. You can check out The Bunker. Check out Mic'd Up. Doing a lot of football stuff now. So if you're ready for football, if you're ready for the NFL, college football too, tap into the podcasts and we'll be really discussing that. And check out Instagram and TikTok for all the clips that we've been putting out. A lot of football stuff. Baseball's dead. Baseball is dead. But we'll still be here the rest of the season. So make sure to keep checking it out. And you can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening, and we will see you in the next one.